Why do we care so much about people who don't care about us? That won't be there in the hard times, that won't be there when you hit rock bottom, that won't be there in your struggle, that never call you and ask you how you doing, that never call you and see how your day is going. Why do we care about what they think?
Character is that way. That's why a person with character does not live on what's popular. They live on what is principle.
The company you keep tells a whole lot about you. Someone say out loud, check your circle. See, the people around us, I don't care what your job is, I don't care how strong you are, I don't care how far down the road of life, the people around you, the more time you spend with them, I don't care who you are, you're going to become like them.
People who are not your children, you are under no obligation to help people. You're not responsible for another adult's happiness, well-being, or welfare. You're not responsible for that, nor should you make yourself responsible for another person. Take that pressure off you.
Take a look at the people that are around you, and if they're not on the side of what's good for you, then walk away.
Sometimes when you give from your heart, you are empowering people. And when you empower the wrong one who has malicious intent, they got their hand out because they have no power. They're weak, they're broke, they're struggling. Something is going on. And you reach your hand out to them. You let them move into your home. You let them borrow money. You let them use your car. So therefore you are empowering them. They take your hand, and as soon as they get off the ground, that hand becomes a fist, and they proceed to knock you out.
If you got somebody that's dragging, that's going down in a downward spiral, and you decide that you're just going to pour everything into them, well, then you're going to go down that downward spiral as well. And now you're not going to be able to help them. Oftentimes, when you think you're helping someone, you're really just enabling them. You got to detach. You got to make sure you're not becoming emotional. You got to make sure that you're seeing the person and the situation for what it really is. Not what you want it to be, but what it really is, who they really are, what they are really doing.
Experience is your highest truth, and I don't want you to ignore the truth. I don't want you to disown the experience. There was an open hand from your heart to help somebody get on their feet. And once you took their hand, they took that same hand that you helped them get up with, turned it into a fist, and tried to figure out a way to knock you out.
Do you notice that 95% of all your voicemails are a request? Don't you become the 911 in everybody's life. Just stop. Release yourself under pressure. Now her number, I would just block her number. I just learned how to block numbers. Did you all know that? It's the greatest, oh my God. That's what I gave myself for Christmas. My life's so good right now.
Some of y'all right now are in relationships and friendships that you are clearly being used and taken advantage of. They're jealous of who you are and all the things you have, and yet they're using you for these various things. Pay attention to people and who they really are. Don't manipulate your mind to thinking, you know what, maybe I'm just being a negative person. There's this thing called instincts, intuition, and discernment. Pay attention to them. Don't disown them, because you will end up in pain in the end.
Here's how you know if someone's your friend. You can tell them bad news, and they'll listen. They won't tell you why, you're stupid and why that bad thing happened to you and how something worse happened to them once and, derail the whole conversation. You can tell them good news, and they'll help you celebrate. And that's a really good way of deciding who you should have around you.
We've all been used, we've all been taken advantage of. It doesn't feel good. And when you get used and taken advantage of or manipulated, you're doing it. Everything and operating and coming from your heart. But unfortunately, other people have malicious, evil, and vindictive intentions towards you. And all you have to do is forgive those, but more importantly, learn from it.
You find yourself in success. You lose yourself in significance. It's when we begin to add value to others that we begin to lose ourselves, because now the cause is greater. Our why, our purpose, our why is bigger than us. When you find your why, you'll find your way. Everything changes at that time.
Because once you find that, it puts you in your power place. See, if you know what your life work is, I encourage you to start working on it. And if you don't know what it is that you showed up to do, I encourage you to find out what your purpose is here. What is the meaning of your life? What will be different? Have you ever asked yourself that question?
One of the great distractions of chasing our dreams is this thing that goes off in our head as we're negotiating the price we're paying. Should I keep paying it? Is it getting too high? Is it too much? And you'll have people in your ear, it's too big a sacrifice. You're going through too much. And you begin to negotiate it in your mind. It distracts all your focus. You can't be executing and negotiating simultaneously.
You have to have 7 straight days of being absolutely positive. Not one negative thought, not one negative expression that you hold on to. And you know what? After you go about 4, 5, 6 days in a row doing really well, something major negative is going to happen. How's that for some positive programming? But what it is a test to see how committed you really are.
If you're in your head negotiating and negotiating and negotiating, you can't execute. So negotiate it now. Negotiate it with me now. What are you willing to pay? For me, when I'm after something big, as long as it's legal, ethical, and moral, I'll sacrifice everything else. But I will not sacrifice anything legal, anything unethical, or anything immoral.
A person without character will say one thing, do another, and promise something else. So you never know who you're talking to when you're talking to them. No character.
We should not. fear failure, for example, anyone can fail, and virtually everyone does at one time or another. But if we should not fear failure per se, we should fear failure to do our best.
We're to find ourselves, isn't it interesting, to lose ourselves. And we lose ourselves when our purpose becomes bigger than us. To find a purpose, how important. But then to take that purpose and place it in a position that has eternal factors involved is to lose yourself and to go to another whole level of life and another level of living.
It's here that wisdom provides very real, very practical benefits. It's wisdom that provides a sense of life's value and assurance that all the effort has been worthwhile. There's no question that we must take care of our material needs, but a fulfilled life requires meaning as well as substance.
Unfortunately, many people reject what God made them to be. And they spend their entire lives trying to be something they're not. And then they wonder why they're so unhappy and so unfulfilled. You were made to be you, not anybody else. And if you try to be somebody else that you're not shaped to be, you're going to be miserable.
People don't do what they know in life, but what they do is they operate within the context of the vision they have of themselves. How to begin to get a larger vision of yourself and how to begin to make this your decade. Because in order to do that, it's going to be very challenging. It's going to require that you begin to see yourself worthy of the requirements in terms of effort, in terms of commitment, in terms of action, or whatever it is that you need to do in order to take your life where you want to take it.
Of course, the reality isn't quite that simple. But it's not as simple either as thinking that just because you're older, things are now going in the opposite direction. And that while you used to want to do everything, you should now want to do nothing. No, reality is by no means that simple either.
Do not cast pearls before swine. A very, very harsh statement, right? But what it means is, if you're offering words of wisdom to someone in the genuine attempt to help, and they treat that with contempt, then shut up. You're demeaning. Your words by throwing them away.
And that we should refuse to accept. You're never just a victim of circumstances. No matter what happens, you're never without options that can get you back on track. It takes courage to recognize that, but I would suggest that we should accept that responsibility because no one is really going to accept it for us.
I wanted everybody to like me. I wanted to be perfect the first time I did something. It's not going to happen. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to hurt some folks' feelings. You're going to create some enemies. Whenever you decide that you want to begin to take life on, you've got to ask yourself, how long am I going to allow this to hold me back?
It's about treating people the way you would want to be treated and doing the tasks that you don't necessarily want to do, but that you know will help you. It's about facing your fears so you can conquer them.
You're so consumed with everything that's going on in the world. This is the reasons you haven't figured out your own life yet. Every website, every tweet, every Instagram post, with everything that's going on in the world, you're ignoring your own world. You can never shine trying to sit on someone else's sun. You can never figure out who you are if you're consumed in everything that everybody else is and what they're doing and the moves that they're making.
Can you get laser obsessively focused almost to its exclusivity, almost, but for an extended period of time towards something you want so badly, you want it like oxygen. It's like you want it like you want to eat. You want it like you want to live, right? Are you extendedly laser focused on it, or do you get distracted easily?
Because you've been through some stuff and you can help them, give them advice, give them insight over things that they may be struggling with. This is what the love circle is. We spread love. When people write comments and tell their stories, respond to 10 people without you knowing you have signed up to be a part of the love circle. I love you. Tag whoever needs to see this video and make sure you share it.